Okay, I'm back. So now that the whole box is constructed, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to make sure that all my edges are burnished really well. And remember, keep your hand on the inside of the box so that you can, use pressure, because otherwise if you do it too hard and your hand's not in there, you'll break your box. So, because obviously this is a weak side. This is going to be your strongest edge. Okay, and then we're going to start on the construction of the lid. Okay, so I'm sorry, let me get some of this trash out of the way. And I'm going to get my measurements for you. Alrighty then. So I'm going to take my extra leftover paper here. I'm going to take my lid and I'm going to measure my lid. So right now I know that this looks like 7 and 7 7/8 it looks like. Yep. So I'm going to do 2 at 7 7/8. And make sure. Yep. And then I'm going to do I'm going to score at the 1/2 inch. I'm going to get my thumb out of the way there. The 1 inch. 1 1/2. And 2. And I'm going to cut my little edges off. And then there I go, holding on to it real tight. Actually, I'm going to move it over just a little bit and hold down. And hold down. Oops, that one didn't cut all the way through. That's okay. Take the end of my scissors. There. Because it didn't go down far enough. Okay. Get my bone folder. Again, mountain high. Okay. So I got those ready. Okay. This one I'm a little bit tweaky about. I don't know why. Okay. I just feel like because it's such a short little edge, I worry that it's going to fall apart on me before I get it together here. So I'm going to pull this one off and I'm going to pull this back a little bit. I'm not going to remove it all the way. I'm just going to pull it back so that it'll stay stuck. Okay. Again, these two edges, the longer edges, are on the inside of this top. So as you can see, I don't know if that helps. See how it's on the inside? So there we go. Just wanted to show you that. I'm going to, I shouldn't have pulled that off. Ugh. Okay. Just want to pull it back a little bit. There we go. Ah, it didn't work. I have more tape. Okay, my bad. There. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing with my tape. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll be. Okay, so I'm back. So what I did was I went ahead and cut 2 strips for this side. This was 1 inch by 5 inches. And then, of course, I scored it down the middle. And then, again, I did the tape, your double-sided sticky tape, and then I taped it down on both sides. So basically, now you have the frame for your box. Now, you have a couple options. Either you can paint the inside of the box, or you can use paper. But for the lid, of course, I would paint the inside of the lid just because, like I said, I made it pretty much where it's, you know, tight enough that you really can't add too many layers of paper. So I'm going to, oh, I forgot to mention. So for the roof, I did cut the roof with a chipboard. So basically I did 5¼ inches by 8 inches long. And then so you're going to need 2 of these. And then of course you're going to have it where this edge sets on this one. And I haven't decided yet on whether or not I want to do hinges where you could make it where the roof can be opened. So I think that just depends. Now, if you're going to paper this inside, I would go ahead and do that now. I think I'm actually going to use a sheet of white cardstock to go ahead and do that. But I'm going to go ahead and start cutting all the papers for this. I've decided that for the outside of my box, I'm going to use this sheet. This one is called Charm 2. I really like the pattern on this. Well, I love this pattern, but, you know, it's kind of really wild and too much going on for the house. So I decided to go with this one. I love the green color too, because, you know, obviously St. Patrick's Day or Irish. So let me get those cut out. It'll probably take 4 sheets of these. So that again is 2 kits. And then I will be back with the measurement. Okay, so basically for the rooftop, because I want to do a thatchet roof, this is kind of what I came up with. So I got my brown cardstock and I I shredded like a bunch of paper. I didn't use a shredder, I actually used my own, you know, cutting board, but I suggest using a paper shredder. It'd probably be a lot easier to do. But basically I cut so far 3 sheets of this paper, and I used the heavyweight Hobby Lobby cardstock, the paper bag color. So I'm going to use that for the roof. So for the roof, I'm basically using the same measurements that I made for the rooftop. In fact, I'm going to do that on all of them. So all you're going to do is use your double-sided sticky tape and go ahead. If you want to cover the inside too, you can do that. So that's up to you on the rooftop. And then again, you know, the top of the box. I'm probably going to use the same color cardstock on this too. I'll probably paper both sides just to be on the safe side. So I will be back once I get all my paper cut for this little box here, and I'll be back. Okay, so what I did for the bottom of the box was I cut my decorative paper 7 5/8 by 4 5/8. Actually, I did it by 3/4, but when I actually taped it on there, it went over a hair. So I'm going ahead and letting you know that 7 5/8 by 4 5/8 will work better. And then I went ahead and I had some of this distress stain. You can distress your edges, and I went ahead and did this with a vintage photo just to, you know, so that there's not like a white mark on the edge of the paper, you know. So I'm just going to keep on moving along, and I will come back the next for this side actually. Or actually, I already did this side, but let me just double check on this measurement here, because if it goes over, yeah, I don't want to go over. So this one is 4 and again, I think it's a little bit, that's so strange. It says 4 3/4, well, but it's like a little bit, yeah, it says 4 3/4 by 5 7/8. Let me just double check because I don't want it to go over the edges like last time. Yep, that's right. So again, 4 3/4 by 5 7/8. And then again, you can, you know, distress your edges. So I will come back after I tape these on here, and then you can, and then I'll let you know the exact measurements of this one. I know, sorry, I'm like doing this video as I'm making it because it's a lot easier for me so that I don't have to make the project twice and I can get the tutorial done much faster. So anyway, I'll be back. One thing I just wanted to comment on that I noticed was that you have this slight little, you know, space at the edge. So when you're applying this paper down, I would start from the top and work your way down because you don't have any gray edging along here. So definitely start with here and then work your way down. So that's just a little tip. Okay, so basically for the front and the back, I did it at 7 5/8 by 6. So if you have your 12 by 12, I mean, it, you know, the 6 is perfectly in half, so that's kind of perfect for you. But my suggestion would be to go ahead and cut it at 7 3/4. It may be a little bit long, but if you don't want this little edging here, and I'm not sure if I really like that, you may want to go ahead and do 7 3/4, and then cut off like a 1/16 of an inch, which that's not on your scoreboard. I mean, basically it's like a sliver, but the 6" is fine. So far we've got all of these. And I'm going to start working on the lid. So you will need another 12 by 12 paper because unless, I mean, this is up to you. If you don't care that these are sideways, you could get away with, you know, having your writing sideways. They're really not even going to see that, but on this edge. So let me see. This is what I have left over. So basically, yeah, let's do that instead of wasting a whole nother 12 by 12 because the roof is covering over this part. So they're not even going to see that anyway. And then I would go ahead and cover this with the paper cardstock right there. And then you should be good to go. So I'll give you those measurements in just a minute. Okay, so what I did was this piece of paper that was left over, I went ahead and left it at 7 1/4 inches, and I went ahead and let it wrap around the edges. But this is 1 1/8 inch, okay? And I'm going to wait till the end to go ahead and do my edges. But I'm going to go ahead and do this side. So this one, I'm not going to have it wrap around the edges, so this will be the length that it's supposed to be, but it will be 1 1/8 inch right here, and then I'll be back. Okay, so for the top of the lid, for the front and back side, it's going to be 7 7/8 by, like I said, 1 1/8 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and do those measurements now. And this is the one thing I hate is when it doesn't set exactly like it should. Okay. Sure that looks right. Yep. All right. I'm going to tape those on there and then I'll do the lid. Okay, so for the lid, I cut it at 5 by 8, but as you can see, it goes over a 1/16 of an inch. I don't know what it is with me and a 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that little 1/16 of an inch off, which actually on here, this I don't know what you call it. What is this? Oh, Fiskars. On this Fiskars, that would be a 1/16 of an inch right there. And I'm going to go ahead and, let me see the side that I cut on. I'm going to cut off another 1/16 of an inch right there. And I'm going to hold it down so that it doesn't move. Now let's double check and make sure this is right. Yep. So that looks good. Okay, so go ahead. I missed some of these edges. I'm going to do that real quick. And then I'll tape this on here, and then that will be your lid. Okay, so for the lid, I cut it at 5 by 8, but as you can see, it goes over a 1/16 of an inch. I don't know what it is with me and a 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that little 1/16 of an inch off, which actually on here, this, I don't know what you call it. What is this? Oh, Fiskars. On this Fiskars, that would be a 1/16 of an inch right there. And I'm going to go ahead and, let me see the side that I cut on. I'm going to cut off another 1/16 of an inch right there. And I'm going to hold it down so that it doesn't move. Now let's double check and make sure this is right. Yep. So that looks good. Okay, so go ahead. I missed some of these edges. I'm going to do that real quick. And then I'll tape this on here, and then that will be your lid. Okay, so for the little triangles on my roof, I decided that I'm going to go ahead and pull out another stack of this, another piece of this from the second kit, or second set of papers. So I know that this is 2.5 inches in height, and so I'm going to go ahead and cut my paper at 2.5. And if I remember correctly, it was by 4. But I will double check on that. 4 7/8. So I will do 4 7/8. I double check, make sure that's right. And it is. In fact, this has a little bit of an overhang, which is fine. Come to think of it, I may do 2 strips of this, and the reason why I'm going to do that is because I really want this centered. Wish I had thought about that 2 seconds ago before I cut it, right? That would have been super smart. So I know I want this in the center. So I can go ahead and actually cut my paper. I'm going to lay it on top of there, and I'm holding this sucker down too. Here, I'm going to have to move it up a little bit and angle it just right and pull it. I'm going to come back again. I'm still holding onto this paper tightly underneath here, and then pull it and cut. So it should look something like that. You may not have to do that if you don't really care exactly where it's centered, But, you know, for decorative sake, I do, and I wish I had thought about that a minute ago but I will definitely use this in my scraps anyway, because I'm making a book. So I'm just going to put it to the side, and sometimes I even use these for like little tabs, so you can do that too. Let me go ahead and cut another 2.5 inch strip. I do have my glue gun on. I don't know why I feel like that's not 2.5, but it must be. Sometimes I don't trust myself. And why should I? Because I just made that error earlier. Okay, so yeah, I still want this out. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to find my center point. Here we go. And again, still making sure I don't have this messed up. And I can pull it and cut. And center it again. I saw that move too. See what happens when you don't hold it down. Okay, it still worked for me though. Luckily. Whoosh. Okay, so now at this point, I'm going to tape this on here, and then I'm going to distress my edges, and I will be back. Okay, so now we're going to put the rooftop on the lid. So basically, I did 1/8 inch double-sided sticky tape, and I'm actually going to go ahead and use my glue gun and do this bottom edge also, just to be on the safe side. I'm going to do like a really super thin layer because I do not want it to come out over. And I'm going to actually brush it a little bit and then apply it on there. And you're going to have to hold it down because chipboard likes to bow. So now, if you want to make it super secure, it is okay to go ahead and, I mean, because, you know, this is the inside of the lid anyway. I mean, goodness. Okay, I need to get some more glue. Hold on. Yep, you hear that crafter's sigh of irritation when they don't have their stuff. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to do like a thin line on the inside and pull off any crazy strings that want to stay on here. And I'm going to do the same to the other side. Do my thin little strip here. And like I said, you got to move quickly. I'm going to drag it on the inside a little bit just to get rid of that excess glue because I don't want it on the edge. Sorry, I know you can't see what I'm doing. I apologize. Let me move the box up a little bit and then you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, then my crazy little wonderful strings everywhere. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and hold on. Oops, I think I already, well, what the heck? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do my little strip of glue on. Isn't that crazy? That little ball just decided to like follow me here. There we go. Okay, that little strip. Get rid of the strings. And I'm going to let that thoroughly dry before I mess with it again. Alrighty, I'll be back. Okay, so when I made my roof, what I did was I took, let me see, I think this would be, yeah, 8 inches, and I did a 1-inch strip. I scored it down the middle and I folded it back over and over and over again just to, you know, make it easy to bend. Okay. And then of course I put my double-sided sticky tape. I did go over this a little bit, but you know what? I'm not even worried about it because again, I'm going to be having that thatchet roof. So they're not even going to notice that. So in the meantime, I'm going to, flip it over. Now we have our piece here that's glued and ready to go. And what I'm going to do is, because I want one side, now you can glue this together and then the roof won't open at all. Or you can have it set where it does open. So basically I'm only going to glue one side of this to the inside of this. So I'm going to take my 1/8 inch double-sided sticky tape. Okay. And I am going to reinforce this by glue. So just so you know, I mean, it's up to you. You can, I just do it for that initial, you know, stick because I don't want it to move when I'm, you know, putting this together. Let's see. And I guess be mindful of the edges here. You want, if you're going to have anything hang over on this tape, you want it to be on the inside and not the outside of it. So I'm going to kind of readjust this a little bit. Here we go. So cut off any of my little edges here. And then I'm going to line it up again. And so you're going to have to actually manually take your hands and you're going to have about 1/16 of an inch. No, 1/8. 1/8 of an inch right here to play with on each side. So I don't know if I can show this to you, but maybe it'll be easier to do it like this. So you're going to take it all the way up to the edge. Okay, but I want you to do it, well, for me it's just easier to do it on that side so I can see what I'm doing. You're going to take your tape off and then you're going to leave 1/8 of an inch here and 1/8 of an inch here, but you're going to have that end go right up here to the end line, you know, the edge line on this side, okay? And you're going to have to kind of work, oops, my tape came out. I didn't burnish it on there, oops. That could be an issue. I'm sorry, let me do that real quick. Or this is not going to work. So you're going to have to work pretty fast on this right here with the glue. So make sure it's good and hot and ready to go. So I'm going to try to stay on the inside of it. So I don't really want a whole lot coming out. So then again, I'm going to stick one side down right there at the edge and then the other side and press down. Sorry, you got lots of little strings. If you have any hanging over, you can always take it off, but I actually don't. Yay! Okay, so then I'm going to go on the inside of this, and I'm going to get it in there pretty good. I'm going to like drop it down in there because it's pretty far down in there. And I know that looks messy, but dude, I do not care. If you are a perfectionist when it comes to this part, you can be. Since it's the inside of the box, basically what I'm turning it into, either you can put another small mini album in here, or you could put a hole, like a hole right here, and they could put money in it, and you could use this for a wedding box for a Irish themed wedding. So I've had several cousins, and my sister and her husband got married on the 17th. So it's kind of in our family. We love to have weddings on St. Patrick's Day. But anyway, I will be back with the rest because we're going to work on the thatchet of the roof. So in the meantime, you want to go ahead and get your little paper strips ready to go. And like right now, I've used 3 sheets. I don't know if that's enough, but what I'm going to do, because when I noticed that cottages, they kind of have like layers. So I'm going to do like a shorter layer and then another layer and then another layer. So if you want to do your hole in your box, you might want to do that now. And then honestly, come think of it, I forgot about the chimney. So I will go ahead and do that. And I'm going to have the chimney coming out on this side of it because I wanted you to be able to open the box. So if I had the chimney here, you wouldn't really be able to do that. So I'm going to do a real little chimney real quick. And I'll be right back.